bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God. That God's name is
the bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights to God. That God's name is practice. The egg. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights to God. That God's name is practice. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights to God. That God's name is practice. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights to God. That God's name is practice. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird fights to God. That God's name is practice. The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God. That God's name is Abraxas.
Thank you for listening to Neoadio. Today is going to be our tribute to boredom and all things boring.
The bird fights.
So, first, we're going to we're gonna talk about boring office. What's the name of the company?
Some stuff.
This can be found at. Hang on, wait. Hang on. Does this microphone stand detached from the microphone of which is affixed to the top of it? Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. You can get to this site by going to http://www.bori.
You're listening to Ugly Music for Beautiful People.
.history.com/capital HISTORY.htm.
Internet Explorer.
Okay. Boring Business Systems. Boring Business Systems was founded in 1924 as Lakeland Typewriter and Supply Incorporated by my grandfather, Frank W. Myers. My grandfather traveled on a train to Hartford, Connecticut to attend the Royal Typewriter Sales and Service School. Upon returning by train to his home in Tampa, my grandfather moved his family to Lakeland and founded Lakeland Typewriter and Supply Company Incorporated in downtown Lakeland. Initially, the company specialized in typewriter sales and service, but soon added office furniture and later office supplies. The company continued to grow and adjust around difficult times and 2 world wars.
In 1952, Grandfather Myers persuaded my father, Alan D. Boring, to join the company as general sales manager. My father, who was an accountant / bookkeeper, had vast experience in office equipment and management, and became an immediate asset to the company's organization. My father handled outside sales and was extremely successful, and the company continued to grow. In the mid-60s, my grandfather retired, and my father purchased the company.
I grew up around the business, working during the summers, even when in grammar school. Over the years, I continued to work part-time in service, delivery, and sales while going to school. In 1967, I joined the company full-time. In 1973, our company located from the original downtown location, 122 South Tennessee Avenue, to George Jenkins Boulevard. At that time, we added copiers to our product line, and the company name was changed to Boring Business Equipment.
In 1980, my father retired, and I purchased the company. Later, our company name was changed to Boring Business Systems to better reflect the products and services we offer.
To accommodate our continued growth, in 2002, we relocated to East Main Street, where we occupy 30,000 square feet of showroom, offices, and warehouse space located on almost 4 acres. We are now located just east of downtown Lakeland, not far from where the company was originally established in 1924.
We now employ 50 employees who strive every day to provide the best service possible to our valued customers. In today's busy business world, it is our one-stop shop for all business solutions that sets Boring Business Systems apart from the single product source.
Again, this website can be found by going to http://www.boring-business.htm.
Now, we're going to play Folk Songs of Austria from the Voice Choir of Vienna. You're listening to Neoadio,
The tribute to Bordom.
the most boring show on the radio.
We apologize for the inconvenience. We missed the intro to the song. Is it working? Okay. Yeah. This again is the song that we were going to play.
God can do, what He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. The chimes of time ring out the news, another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you? You may have longed for added strength, your courage to renew. Do not be disheartened, for I have news for you. It is no secret what God can do, what He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do.
Rose and Alice, oh, the pretty lasses, with their mouths like a callus and their hair a golden palace. Oh, my heart like a lovely wind they blow. Though I am black and not comely, though I am black as the darkest trees, I have swarms of gold that will fly like honeybees by the rivers. I will feed my words until they skip like those fleeced lambs, the waterfalls and the river's horned rams. Then for all my darkness I shall be the peacefulness of a lovely tree, a tree wherein the golden birds are singing in the darkest branches. Oh, we bear velvet green and babyish, small leaves seaweed stream, horses' tails that swish, and the chimes remind us of sweet birds singing like the jangling bells on rose trees ringing. Man must say farewell to parents now and to William Tell and Mrs. Cow. Man must say farewells to storks and bets and to roses' bells and statuettes, forests white and black, in blue with forget-me-nots, and to lovers true still the sweet bird begs and tries to cozen them by angels' eggs, sold by the dozen. Gone are clouds like inns on the garden's brinks, and the mountain gins Ganymede sells drinks, while the days seem grey and his heart of ice, grey as chamois or the Edelweiss, and the mountain streams like cowbell sound, tirra-lirra drowned in the weight winter's dreams, who has gone beyond the forest waves, while his true and fond ones seek their graves. That hobnail goblin with bobtail hob said it is time I began to rob the strawberries bob hobnob with the pearls of cream like the pearls of the dairy girl, and flushed with the heat and fruitish ripe are the gowns of the maids who dance to the pipe. Chase a maid, she's afraid. Go gather a bob-cherry kiss from a tree, but don't, I prithee, come bothering me, she said, as she fled. The snouted satyrs drink clouted cream neath the chestnut trees as thick as a dream. So I went and I leant where none but the dotish, goatish wine asked my hand for what it could find as it neighed. I said, don't touch me, sir, don't touch me, I say. You tumble my strawberries into the hay. Those snowballs of silver that be the spring has sucked his sweetness from I will bring, with fair hair plants, with apples chill, for the great god Pan's high altar I'll spill not one. So in fun we rode on the grass and began to run, chasing that gorgeous satyr the sun. Over the haycocks away we ran, crying, here be berries, a sunburnt a span. But Silenus has seen us. He runs like the rough satyr son. Come away. In a room of the palace, black Mrs. Behemoth gave way to wrath and the wildest malice. Cried Mrs. Behemoth, come, 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 court lady, doomed like a moth through palace room shady. The candle flame seemed a yellow pompion, sharp as a scorpion, nobody came. Only
Palladian architecture
their
from
unkind at Budford papoose, the unspring wind blew out the candle. Where is it gone? To flat Coromandel rolling on. Lily O'Grady, silly and shady, Lloyd to be a lazy lady, walk by the cuckler's gables in the lakes, Georgian stables, in a fairy tale like the heat intense in the mist in the woods with across the fence, the children gathering strawberries, a change for the heat into negresses, so that hair shines there like gold, her planets Calliope, Io, Pomona, Antiope, Echo and Clio. Then Lily O'Grady, silly and shady, sauntered along like a lazy lady beside a wave's haycocks. Her gown with tucks was a satin the colour of shining green ducks, and a fol-de-rol parasol as a great gold sun or the haycock shining, but she was a negress, black as the shade, the time and the brightest lady laid. Then a satyr dog at the trunks of trees began to flatter, began to tease. And she ran like the nymphs with golden foot that trampled the strawberry buttercup root in the thick gold dew as bright as mesh of dead Penelope's golden flesh. Made from the music whence were born Memphis and Thebes and the first hawthorn, and ran to wait in the lake where the water ripples seemed gay to rake. And Charlottine, Adeline, round was bubbling Victorine, and the other fish express a wish for mastic mantles and gowns with a swish, and bright in sight as the posies of buttercups and of roses, and buds of the wildwood lilies, they chase her frisky as fillies. The red retriever-haired satyr can whine and tease her and flatter, but Lily O'Grady is silly and shady. In the deep shade is a lazy lady. Now Hump is dead, Homer's red, Heliogabalus lost his head, and shade is on the brightest wing, and dusk forbids the bird to sing.
Welcome back,
Neoadio.
KXUA.
This is a tribute to boredom and all things boring. Although I think we left genre with the last.
I was interested in that. I liked it.
It
wasn't boring.
It wasn't boring. It was something else besides boring.
It was entertaining.
There's probably a series of adjectives that we could use, all of which would adequately, or at least partially or in whole, describe that record.
Long. It's round. Black.
Yeah.
Spinning.
I can't think of any.
Grooved.
That's a little creative. I don't like that. That's not very boring. I think we should do this next thing that we're going to do. Do you think we should do this thing now? Or maybe do something else? We could do either. We could do this. Or we could do something else.
We could do something else. Or we could do this.
Let's do this one.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to introduce it, or?
Google local.
Right. This can be found at https://maps.gov/F=D.
Spokane, Washington to Cape Coral, Florida. This is a trip of 2,999 miles and would take about 2 days and 4 hours. Head north from North Lincoln Street. Go 33 feet. Turn right at West Main Avenue. Go 0.5 miles. Turn right at North Brown Street. Go 0.1 miles. Continue on South Brown Street. Go 0.3 miles. Take the I-90 East Ramp to Coeur d'Alene. Go 545 miles.
Do you want me to take it from here for a little while?
Yeah.
How about if we each do 5?
Okay.
Take the I-90 East exit. Oh, wait, did you already do this one?
No.
Okay.
No, that's where we're at.
All right. Should I start over?
No.
Okay. Take the I-90 East exit, 456 to Sheridan. Go 701 miles. Take the I-29 South exit, 396A. Go 187 miles. Take the I-29 South exit, 4 to Kansas City. Go 158 miles. Take the I-435 East exit, 14 to St. Louis. Go 29 miles. Take the I-70 East exit, 63B to St. Louis. Go 242 miles.
Bear right onto the I-55 North / I-64 East / I-70 East ramp to Illinois. Go 3.2 miles. Bear right at I-64 East and head toward Louisville, 75 miles. Continue on I-57 South toward Memphis. Go 47 miles. Take the I-24 East exit, 44 to Nashville. Go 317 miles.
Take the I-75 South exit 185A to Atlanta. Go 97 miles. Take the I-285 East / I-285 West exit 259 to Birmingham, Tampa, Greenville. Go 1.0 miles. Merge into I-285. Merge into I-285 West. Go 24 miles. Take the I-75 exit 58 to Atlanta, Macon, Tampa. Go 0.8 miles. Bear right onto the I-75 South ramp to Macon, Tampa. Go 61 miles. Take the I-475 South exit 177 to Valdosta. Go 16 miles.
Take the I-75 South ramp. Go 470 miles. Take the Country Road 762 exit 158 to North Fort Myer / Cape Coral. Go 0.3 miles. Bear right onto Country Road 762 West ramp to Cape Coral, North Fort Myers. Go 0.1 miles. Bear right at Tucker's Grade. Go 0.9 miles. Turn left at Tamiami Trail. Go 7.1 miles.
Continue on North Tamiami Trail. TRL.
I think that's trail.
Go 4.4 miles. Continue on North Cleveland Avenue. Continue on North Cleveland Avenue. Go 2.1 miles. Turn right at Northeast Pine Island Road. Go 2.7 miles. Turn left at Del Prado Boulevard North. Go 1.1 miles. Continue to Del Prado Boulevard South. Go 6.1 miles.
Turn right at Cape Coral Parkway East. Go 0.4 miles. Make a U-turn at Cape Coral Park East on 163 feet.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to Neoadio, the Ministry of Fun. In this case, actually,
the Ministry of Boring.
The tribute show to boredom and all things boring.
These directions are for planning purposes only. You may find that construction projects, traffic, or other events may cause road conditions to differ from the map results. Plan your trip wisely.
We got this from Google Maps, which was at https://maps.google.maps/F=$d.
It is now 11:31 p.m. Thursday, April 6, 2006.
So, what do you want to do now?
If you'd like to call in, we're going to be giving away blank sheets of paper.
Yes, with the option of us drawing a line on them for you.
We'll draw a line on the paper.
But there might be an added fee. Send us an email, too, and we'll respond to it with a blank email at
neoadio. How do you spell that?
neoadio @gmail.com. And we'll actually send you, as an attachment, a blank piece of paper that you can print out from any printer.
We'll fax it to you. We'll fax it to you.
We can fax
a blank
pieces of paper.
Yeah.
Or one with a line on it if you prefer.
You'll have to draw the line yourself.
Right. We'll tell you how. We'll have instructions posted somewhere at some point.
Instructions on how to draw.
Or we can send an email also on the instructions on how to draw. But it'll be a separate email from the blank email that is the prize. You don't want to corrupt the prize by...
We're giving away blank emails.
But we may cancel that just because...
It's too expensive.
And it's a little too exciting for really our purposes today.
Too much trouble.
Do we have the...
Later on tonight...
Oh.
We're going to have a special guest.
Special guest. Surprise guest. He's usually very exciting, but...
Tonight he won't be.
He's going to be explaining the intricacies of banking procedure, since he himself works at a bank.
We're all going to learn how to fill out a deposit slip.
I think we're going to fill out deposit slips. We'll see what he has. I think he's bringing a whole series of things to which we will be able to...
I have a lot of questions about banking.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Like, what kind of pins do they use at that bank?
Yeah. Hang on. That's him.
It's really exciting. Right now we're going to listen to the Wikipedia article on Paladin architecture. You're listening to neoadio on KXUA 88.3 FM.
Palladian architecture from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, at http://en.wikipedia.org. Palladian architecture is a European style of architecture derived from the designs of the Italian architect Andrea Palladio, 1508 to 1580. The term Palladian normally encyclopedia at http://en.wikipedia.org. Palladian architecture is a European style of architecture derived from the designs of the Italian architect Andrea Palladio, 1508 to 1580. The term Palladian normally refers to buildings in a style inspired by Palladio's own work. What is recognized as Palladian architecture today is an evolution of Palladio's original concepts. This evolution of Palladianism as a style began in the 17th century and continued to develop until the end of the 18th century. Palladianism became popular briefly in Britain during the mid-17th century, returned in the early 18th century, and then spread to North America, most notably in the buildings designed by Thomas Jefferson. However, to understand Palladian architecture as it later evolved, one must first understand the architecture of Palladio himself. Contents. There are 10 sections. 1. Palladio's architecture. 2. The Palladian window. 3. The spread of Palladianism. 4. English Palladianism. 5. English Palladian revival or Neo-Palladian. 6. Irish Palladianism. 7. North American Palladianism. 8. Decline of Palladianism. And 9 and 10 are external links and references not included in this recording. Section 1. Palladio's architecture. Buildings by Palladio himself are all in Venice and the Veneto. They include Villa Capra and Villa Badoer, as well as Santa Maria della Salute in Venice. In Palladio's architectural treatises, as well as the buildings he designed and built, he followed the principles defined by the Roman architect Vitruvius and his 15th century disciple Leone Battista Alberti, who adhered to the principles of classical Roman architecture based on mathematical proportions rather than the rich ornamental style, also characteristic of the Renaissance. Palladio always designed his villas with reference to their setting. If on a hill, such as Villa Capra, all facades were designed to be of equal value so that occupants could have fine views in all directions. Also, in such cases, porticos were built on all sides so that occupants could fully appreciate the countryside while being protected from the blazing sun, similar to an American porch today. Palladio sometimes used a loggia as an alternative to the portico. This can most simply be described as a recessed portico or an internal single-story room with pierced walls that are open to the elements. Occasionally, a loggia would be placed at second-floor level over the top of a loggia below, creating what was known as a double loggia. Loggias were sometimes given significance in a facade by being surmounted by a pediment. Villa Godi has, as its focal point, a loggia rather than a portico, plus loggias terminating each end of the main building. Palladio would often model his villa elevations on Roman temple facades. The temple influence, often in a cruciform design, later became a trademark of his work. Palladian villas are usually built with 3 floors, a rusticated basement or ground floor containing the service and minor rooms. Above this, the piano nobile, accessed through a portico reached by a flight of external steps, containing the principal reception and bedrooms. And above this is a low mezzanine floor with secondary bedrooms and accommodation. The proportions of each room within the villa were calculated on simple mathematical ratios like 3:4 and 4:5, and the different rooms within the house were interrelated by these ratios. Earlier architects had used these formulas for balancing a single symmetrical facade. However, Palladio's designs related to the whole, usually square, villa. Palladio deeply considered the dual purpose of his villas as both farmhouses and palatial weekend retreats for wealthy merchant owners. These symmetrical temple-like houses often have equally symmetrical but low wings sweeping away from them to accommodate horses, farm animals, and agricultural stores. The wings, sometimes detached and connected to the villa by colonnades, were designed not only to be functional, but also to complement and accentuate the villa. They were, however, in no way intended to be part of the main house, and it is in the design and use of these wings that Palladio's followers have most altered his original concepts. Section 2. The Palladian window. One of the features of Palladio's work, almost a trademark in his early career, is the misnamed Palladian window. Mentioned by Sebastiano Serlio, 1475 to 1554, in his 7-volume architectural book Tutte le opere d'architettura e prospettiva, expounding the ideals of Vitruvius and Roman architecture, this arched window is flanked by 2 lower rectangular openings, a motif that first appeared in the triumphal arches of ancient Rome. Palladio used the motif extensively, most notably in the arcades of the Palazzo della Ragione in Vicenza. It is also a feature of his entrances to both Villa Godi and Villa Fornicerato. It is perhaps this extensive use of the motif in the Veneto that has given the window its alternative name of the Venetian window. It is also known as a Serlian window. Whatever the name or origin, this form of window has probably become one of the most enduring features of Palladio's work, seen in the later architectural styles evolved from Palladianism. Section 3. The spread of Palladianism. In 1570, Palladio published his book I Quattro Libri dell'Architettura, inspiring architects across Europe. During the 17th century, many architects studying in Italy learnt of Palladio's work. Foreign architects then returned home and adapted Palladio's style to suit various climates, topographies, and personal tastes of their clients. Isolated forms of Palladianism throughout the world were brought about in this way. However, the Palladian style reached the zenith of its popularity in the 18th century, primarily in England, Ireland, and later North America. Section 4. English Palladianism. One of these students was the English architect Inigo Jones, who is directly responsible for importing the Palladian influence to England. The Palladianism of Jones and his contemporaries and later followers was a style very much of facades only, and the mathematical formulae dictating layout were not strictly applied. A handful of great country houses in England built between 1640 and about 1680, such as Wilton House, are in this Palladian style, following the great success of Jones' Palladian designs for the Queen's House at Greenwich and the Banqueting House at Whitehall, the uncompleted royal palace in London of King Charles I. However, the Palladian designs advocated by Inigo Jones were too closely associated with the court of Charles I to survive the turmoil of the Civil War. Following the Stuart Restoration, Jones's Palladian was eclipsed by the Baroque designs of such architects as William Tolman and Sir John Vanbrugh, Nicholas Hawksmoor, and even Jones' pupil John Webb. Section 5. English Palladian Revival, Neo-Palladian. The Baroque style, popular in Europe, was never truly to the English taste. It was quickly superseded when, in the first quarter of the 18th century, 4 books were published in Britain which highlighted the simplicity and purity of classical architecture. These were 1. Vitruvius Britannicus, published by Colin Campbell, 1715, of which supplemental volumes appeared throughout the century. 2. Palladio's 4 Books of Architecture, published by Giacomo Leoni in 1715. 3. Leone Battista Alberti's De Re Aedificatoria, published by Giacomo Leoni in 1726. 4. The Designs of Inigo Jones, with some additional designs, published by William Kent, 2 volumes, 1727. A further volume, Some Designs of Mr. Inigo Jones and Mr. William Kent, was published in 1744 by the architect John Vardy, an associate of Kent. The most popular of these among the wealthy patrons of the day was the 4-volume Vitruvius Britannicus by Colin Campbell. Campbell was both an architect and a publisher. The book was basically a book of design containing architectural prints of British buildings which had been inspired by the great architects from Vitruvius to Palladio. At first, mainly those of Inigo Jones, but the later tomes contained drawings and plans by Campbell and other 18th century architects. These 4 books greatly contributed to Palladian revival architecture becoming established in 18th century Britain. Their 3 authors became the most fashionable and sought-after architects of the era. Due to his book, Vitruvius Britannicus, Colin Campbell was chosen as the architect for banker Henry Hall I's Stourhead House, a masterpiece that became the inspiration for dozens of similar houses across England. At the forefront of the new school of design was the aristocratic architect Earl, Richard Boyle, 3rd Earl of Burlington, who saw Baroque as a symbol of foreign absolutism. In 1729, Burlington, with William Kent, designed Chiswick House. This house was a reinterpretation of Palladio's Villa Capra, but purified of 16th century elements and ornament. This severe lack of ornamentation was to be a feature of the Palladian revival. In 1734, William Kent and Lord Burlington designed one of England's finest examples of Palladian revival houses with Hookham Hall in Norfolk. The main block of this house followed Palladio's dictates quite closely, but Palladio's low, often detached wings of farm buildings were elevated in significance. Kent attached them to the design, banished the farm animals, and elevated the wings to almost the same importance as the house itself. Often these wings were adorned with porticos and pediments, often resembling, as at the much later Kedleston Hall, small country houses in their own right. It was the development of the flanking wings that was to cause English Palladianism to evolve from being a pastiche of Palladio's original work. Architectural styles evolve and change to suit the requirements of each individual client. When, in 1746, the Duke of Bedford decided to rebuild Woburn Abbey, he chose the Palladian style for the design, as this was now the most fashionable of the era. He selected architect Henry Flitcroft, a protégé of Burlington. Flitcroft's designs, while Palladian in nature, would not be recognized by Palladio himself. The central block is small, only 3 bays, the temple-like portico is merely suggested, and it is in fact closed. 2 great flanking wings containing a vast suite of staterooms replace the walls or colonnades which should have connected to the farm buildings. The farm buildings terminating the structure are elevated in height to match the central block, and given Palladian windows to show that they are seen as of Palladian design. This development of the style was to be repeated in countless houses in Britain. Often the terminating blocks would have blind porticos and pilasters themselves, competing for attention with or complementing the central block. This was all very far removed from the designs of Palladio 200 years earlier. English Palladian houses were now no longer the small but exquisite weekend retreats from which their Italian counterparts were conceived. They were no longer villas but powerhouses in Sir John Summerson's term, the symbolic centres of power of the Whig squirearchy that ruled Britain. As the Palladian style swept Britain, all thoughts of mathematical proportion were swept away. Rather than square houses with supporting wings, these buildings had the length of the facade as their major consideration. Long houses, often only 1 room deep, were deliberately deceitful in giving a false impression of size. Section 6. Irish Palladianism. During the Palladian revival period in Ireland, even quite modest mansions were cast in a neo-Palladian mould. Palladian architecture in Ireland subtly differs from that in England. While adhering, as in other countries, to the basic ideals of Palladio, it is often truer to them, perhaps because it was often designed by architects who had come directly from mainland Europe, and therefore were not influenced by the evolution that Palladianism was undergoing in Britain, or perhaps because Ireland was more provincial and its fashions changed at a slower pace than elsewhere. Whatever the reason, Palladianism still had to be adapted for the wetter, colder weather. One of the most pioneering Irish architects was Sir Edward Lovat Pearce, 1699 to 1733, who became one of the leading advocates of Palladianism in Ireland. A cousin of Sir John Vanbrugh, he was originally one of his pupils, but rejecting the Baroque, he spent 3 years studying architecture in France and Italy before returning home to Ireland. His most important Palladian work is the former Irish Houses of Parliament in Dublin. He was a prolific architect who also designed the south facade of Drumcondra House in 1727 and Cashel Palace in 1731. One of the most notable examples of Palladianism in Ireland is the magnificent castle town near Dublin. Designed by the Italian architect Alessandro Galilei, 1691 to 1737, it is perhaps the only Palladian house in Ireland to have been built with Palladio's mathematical ratios, and one of the 2 Irish mansions which claim to have inspired the design of the White House in Washington. Other fine examples include Rasborough, designed by Richard Cassels, an architect of German origin, who also designed the Palladian Rotunda Hospital in Dublin, and Florence Court, County Fermanagh. Irish Palladian country houses often have robust Rococo plasterwork, frequently executed by the Lafranchini brothers, an Irish specialty which is far more flamboyant than the interiors of their contemporaries in England. So much of Dublin was built in the 18th century that it set a Georgian stamp on the city, to the disgust of Irish nationals. Until recently, Dublin was one of the few cities where fine late 18th century housing could be seen in ruinous condition. Elsewhere in Ireland, after 1922, the lead was removed from the roofs of unoccupied Palladian houses for its value as scrap. Many roofless Palladian houses can still be found in the depopulated Irish countryside. Section 7. North American Palladianism. The amateur architect Thomas Jefferson, 1743 to 1826, once referred to Palladio's I Quattro Libri dell'Architettura as his Bible. Jefferson acquired an intense appreciation of Palladio's architectural concepts, and his designs for the Jefferson Monticello estate and the University of Virginia were based on drawings from Palladio's book. Realizing the powerful political significance pertaining to ancient Roman buildings, Jefferson designed many of his civic buildings in the Palladian style. Monticello, remodeled between 1796 and 1808, is quite clearly based on Palladio's Villa Capra, however with modifications, in a style which is described in America today as colonial Georgian. Jefferson's Pantheon, or Rotunda, at the University of Virginia is undeniably Palladian in concept and style. In Virginia and Carolina, the Palladian manner is epitomized in numerous tidewater plantation houses such as Stratford Hall or Westover Plantation or Drayton Hall near Charleston. These examples are all classic American colonial examples of a Palladian taste that was transmitted through engravings for the benefit of masons, and patrons too, who had no first-hand experience of European building practice. A feature of American Palladianism was the re-emergence of the great portico, which again, as in Italy, fulfilled the need of protection from the sun. The portico, in various forms and size, became a dominant feature of American colonial architecture. In the North European countries, the portico had become a mere symbol, often closed, or merely hinted at in the design by pilasters, and sometimes, in very late examples of English Palladianism, adapted to become a porte-cochere. In America, the Palladian portico regained its full glory. Thomas Jefferson must have gained particular pleasure as the second occupant of the White House in Washington, which was doubtless inspired by Irish Palladianism. Both Castletown and Richard Cassell's Leinster House in Dublin claim to have inspired the architect James Holborn, who designed the Executive Mansion built between 1792 and 1800. Holborn, born in Callan, County Kilkenny in 1762, studied architecture in Dublin, where Leinster House, built about 1747, was one of the finest buildings at the time. The Palladianism of the White House is interesting, as it is almost an early form of neoclassicism, especially the south facade, which closely resembles James Wyatt's design for Castle Cool of 1790, also in Ireland. Ironically, the north facade lacks one of the floors from Leinster House, while the southern facade gains a floor extra than Castle Cool, and has an external staircase more in the Palladian manner. Castle Cool is, in the words of the architectural commentator Gervase Jackson Stopes, a culmination of the Palladian traditions, yet strictly neoclassical in its chaste ornament and noble austerity. The same can be said of many houses in the American Palladian style. The only two structures in the United States from the colonial period that can be definitively attributed to designs from the four books are the Hammond Harwood House in Annapolis, Maryland, and the first Monticello. The design source for the Hammond Harwood House is Villa Pisani at Montagnana, and the first Monticello is Villa Cornaro at Piombino d'Esse. Drayton Hall and the Miles Bruton House in South Carolina come next in influence. One of the adaptations made to Palladianism in America was that the piano nobile now tended to be placed on the ground floor rather than above a service floor, as was the tradition in Europe. This service floor, if it existed at all, was now a discrete semi-basement. This negated the need for an ornate external staircase leading to the main entrance, as in the more original Palladian designs. This would also be a feature of the neoclassical style that followed Palladianism. Section 9. Decline of Palladianism. By the 1770s in England, such architects as Robert Adam and Sir William Chambers were in huge popular demand, but they were now drawing on a great variety of classical sources, including ancient Greece, so much so that their forms of architecture were eventually defined as neoclassical rather than Palladian. In Europe, the Palladian revival ended by the end of the 18th century. In North America, Palladianism lingered a little longer. Thomas Jefferson's floor plans and elevations owe a great deal to Palladio's Quattro Libri. The term Palladian today is often misused and tends to describe a building with any classical pretensions.
Okay.
That was Palladian architecture from the Wikipedia.
Should I read the URL to that one?
I don't think we have it.
Okay.
The URL for Wikipedia is http://en.wikipedia.org/.
We have with us in the studio currently an individual named Bordom, who is an expert on the intricacies of common banking procedure, and he's going to share with us some things. What are the levels of your expertise? What are some of the things that you are particularly expert on concerning regular banking procedure?
I am an expert on transactions. That about sums it up.
What
I do?
What transacts?
I do about 2,000 transactions a month, which over the course of a year comes to about 24,000 transactions. Been there about 4 years, so that comes to about 98,000 transactions, which is just under 100,000 transactions.
So you're coming right up on 100,000.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Almost there.
I'm gonna throw a party when I hit it.
Yeah, that would be really good.
I'll bring a ball that we can roll back and forth across the floor at the party.
Yes, that would be excellent.
So, when you say transactions, you mean like money, like going in and out of the bank?
Yeah, money, literal money,
like paper money,
figurative money, credit money, debit money, coins.
Coins?
Coins are money.
When people bring coins to the bank, how do you just take, like, if I brought a coin, would you put that in the bank?
Yes.
Just one coin?
One coin.
You never turn anybody away because it's like, come back when you got a little bit more coins?
The amazing thing is that you can deposit into anyone's account. So if you come up with a name and a coin, you can deposit that coin into somebody's account.
I always thought that, like, you had to roll your coins, like you had to put them in, like you had to bring in like a roll of coins, like in a paper sleeve.
If you have enough to roll, then yes, you do have to roll them.
So if you have 49 coins, like pennies, that's okay. But if I had 50, it'd need to be in a sleeve.
Yes,
okay.
But 49 would anger the teller.
Would they have to count them?
Yes, but often the teller will ask you to help out with the counting process. We usually stack them into little stacks of 10 coins apiece.
How can you tell, like, if they're lying, though?
Well, you take each stack, and you have at least one stack that you counted yourself, and you take their stack, and you put it right next to the other stack. And if it's the same height, then it's a good stack. If it's slightly less or slightly more, count it again.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Has anybody ever refused to count while they were depositing several coins into somebody's account, or if not their own?
Yes. And then you have to count it and be bitter, basically, for the entire transaction. There's a lot of bitterness in banking bitterness.
Tell us about the deposit slip.
It depends on what kind of deposit slip you're talking about. There's the checking deposit slip. There's the savings deposit slip. There's a money market account, but it's just a checking deposit slip. There's a loan payment slip, a mortgage loan payment slip. There's also withdrawals, like there's a savings withdrawal slip, a money market withdrawal slip, and all of these slips are about the same size.
Why don't you tell us about all of them?
Okay. The savings deposit slip. Well, let's start with checking. It's the most popular.
Okay.
The checking deposit slip, it's white all the way around. I mean, it's like all white with dark letters, no color. It says checking deposit at the top, and the top left corner is the date. That's where you put the date. Like for today, you'd put 4606. Underneath that is the name.
Hold on, I got a question about the date.
Yes.
Does it start with 20, and then you just put in a 0, like whatever year?
No,
it is?
the 20 is implied.
Okay.
Yes.
So there.
Good question.
Okay. So like this could be vulnerable to like the Y3K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Potentially, except that it's on paper.
Oh, right.
It's not computer.
Okay.
So,
I was confused about that.
underneath the date is the name. That's where you put the name, not of the person that is making the deposit, such as if you were making a deposit of a coin into someone else's account. It is actually the name of the person on the account into which you are making a deposit. Underneath that is the signature line, consists of an X and a line. And you only sign that if it's your account and you're getting cash back.
Do you check the signature account? Like, I mean, can I just kind of scribble something, or I mean, will that work? Is there some sort of machine that knows my signature?
No. There's a lot of bluffing that goes on,
Uh-huh.
and if the bank is busy, you can get away with a lot. But yes, I can't go into too many details because it's kind of confidential.
That's fine.
Fine. But there is a signature screen that can pop up. It can be accessed at any time and compared. We don't have signature comparison experts, but you can usually put them side by side and tell.
Okay. What exactly is a money market? I have no idea what that is.
A money market account, well, I mean, there is the generic money market that has to do with stock markets and other markets. But it's essentially, technically, a checking account, but essentially a savings account. And you have to have at least a certain amount of money, usually in the quadruple digits, in order to not get a fee. And it just has a higher interest rate, usually 5 to 6 times as much.
By quadruple digits, did you mean starting from 0, like, and then 10, and then 100, and then 1,000? Or by was the first 0 like? I mean, how many digits are you? You're not including the two zeros behind.
I'm talking about between $1,000 and $9,999 typically. Often between $2,000 and $3,000.
What do I do with?
We can't hear you.
What would I do with more than $9,999? Do you have any options for me there?
We'd probably put you in the same money market account. If you had something like over $100,000, for each account, $100,000 is only FDIC insured for the first $100,000 for each person. So if you have 2 people on your account, up to $200,000 is FDIC insured on your account. If you have 3 people on your account, up to $300,000 is FDIC insured on your account. If you have 4 people on your account, up to $400,000 is FDIC insured on your account.
What about 5? 5 people?
5. Actually, if you have 5 people, then up to $500,000 is FDIC insured on your account. Anything over, if we get robbed by internet bandits and they take all your money, you can only get up to what is FDIC insured on your account.
What's the FDIC?
Federal
something
District
commission.
Intermonetary
Insurance
Commission. Insurance
company, right? See?
Commission.
What's their function, though?
They insure large sums of money.
Okay.
They're bank insurers.
Bank insurance. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I guess I was being facetious.
Oh, hey, I should get back to the checking deposit slip.
Just if you're tuning in, this is neoadio, and we're talking to this banking expert here. This is Brom the banker.
Yes. So we've gone over the date, the name, the signature. Underneath that is... What is it? It is the account number. And it actually says account number, and then there's a blank, right? So a lot of people put the account number there, but it actually goes underneath where it says account number in the little boxes. And some people don't put it in the boxes, but they really should, because we have computers, little scanners that read each individual box. And if you fit like 2.5 numbers in one box, then it screws up the computers.
The other day I was at the bank, and I put zeros in the blanks that weren't filled in, and they got mad at me.
Yes, it's a waste of ink.
Well, not only that, but they couldn't find my account. When for some reason they typed in the zeros and it wouldn't find my account, even though I would think that like a blank space on a piece of paper would indicate that it's a zero.
Well, did you put the zeros before or after the account number?
I think it was before.
Then the account number must have been incorrect, because that shouldn't have been affected the lookup process.
Okay.
Or a possible potential speculation that I have on that particular situation is that the space is considered a special character of some kind.
Oh, right.
Not just automatically attributed to a zero.
Oh, yeah.
We need a computer expert at some point.
That is probably incorrect.
Space isn't a special character.
Well, you're the banking expert.
Yes, I am.
Okay, what other kind of deposit slips are there?
Well, as I said before, there's the checking deposit slip, the savings deposit slip, the money market. Well, the money market is really just a checking account, so you use the checking savings slip. The checking deposit slip. There's the loan payment, the mortgage loan payment, and then a couple of withdrawal slips.
Okay. And what are the differences? Just the different kinds of accounts? That's
yes.
pretty much it.
And they're color coded.
They're color coded. Oh, okay. So the checking one's white.
Yes.
What's the savings one?
The savings deposit slip has a little band at the top that is pink.
Okay. And that's the only difference?
Yes, the loan payment also has that pink band at the top.
Okay.
The savings withdrawal slip and the money market withdrawal slip have a yellow band at the top.
What's the minimum amount of money I need to start a savings account?
$100.
Okay. And if I go below $100, do I get penalized?
On a savings account, if you fall below $100 at any time, you get a $2 fee at the end of the month, unless your average balance is over $500.
Okay.
So,
what are the advantages of a savings account over a checking account? Are there any?
no.
No.
Not really. Savings accounts are pretty much psychological tools for the monetarily inept.
So they're for kids, basically.
Yeah, pretty adult kids. Kids who are who aren't good with money.
So, isn't there a penalty though from pulling out of a savings account too much?
Yeah, there's often a penalty for pulling out. Yeah, you can't go into the negative.
It gets messy.
It depends on how much.
Punishment for staying in would be much more.
Okay, we need to
Okay. Yes. Go on with.
focus on the banking here.
Apologize.
This is getting too interesting.
Innuendos.
So do you have any other particular banking questions?
I'm trying so hard.
I got a question.
Okay.
How many drawers do you guys have behind the safe? How many approximately or exactly, if you know?
The safe? Oh, safe deposit boxes. Okay, well, we have 4. I can't tell you that. I might get in trouble. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I got to respect the Bank of Oklahoma. Yeah, they have a branch in Arkansas. I work at it.
Do you have safe deposit boxes?
We have a bunch of them. That's what we were just discussing that I can't discuss. I can discuss aspects of them, but I can't give details about our particular location.
That's fine.
Have you ever thought about robbing a bank and then reconsidered and decided not to? And could you tell us about that experience if you have?
Anyone who has ever worked at a bank has thought about it. But I don't want to be Big Bubba's boyfriend, and so that's the main reason that I never actually followed through on that line of thought.
They would know right where to, like, they would know it was you.
Yeah, anytime anything weird happens, like money happens or money disappears or anything like that, the security advisor, asks the manager if for some reason some employee didn't show up that day, and that's a pretty good indication that something happened, that they took off to Mexico or something. That actually happened just a couple days ago. So.
Are you serious?
Well, I mean, they found the money,
Someone's
but
not here.
yeah, the guy was like, so everyone showed up at work, right? At the Bank of Oklahoma, yes.
Okay. So, like, can you tell me about the different sizes of the safety deposit boxes?
Oh, yes. Actually, we just got a new size.
Okay.
We're all very excited about it. There's the 10 by 10. That's the granddaddy of safe deposit boxes. It's the one that, if you got money and you want to flaunt it, you get the big one. There's also the 5 by 10, the 3 by 10, and then the little new additions, the 3 by 5s.
Wow. I wonder. So, okay, can you give us the price ranges on these?
Yeah, actually, they're from. I can't remember.
Well,
I think the big one is
just
about
gas.
$50.
$50 a month?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
The
then
10
they go
by
down
10?
to and then they go down to 35, 27,
So
20.
I can get a 10 by 10 safety deposit box for $50 a year?
Yeah, actually, if you have a certain kind of account, you can get it for free.
That's I hate to wander away from our theme here, but that's really interesting because I thought that those things were like I was thinking it'd be like $50 a month.
No, I mean, when you think about rented space, it's a very small space.
Well, yeah, but it's behind like 3 feet of like reinforced concrete and like the big door with all the gears and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you had like $1 million, you could rent a ton of safe deposit boxes.
No kidding. Like I'd keep like $1 in every bank, like in every bank in the, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go get one and just keep stuff there.
You
Like,
should.
I'm gonna like.
Oh,
go
actually,
rent a
it's very
safety-
interesting.
I'm gonna go rent a safe deposit box and keep like my plastic fork collection there, and just like go there and like open it up and just be standing there.
Yeah, actually,
waxing
I
my
mean,
forks.
don't do this at the branch that I work at, but you can go get your box, take it back to the back, put a cheeseburger in there, close it up, and then we have to put it up. And we can't go into it until it becomes a health hazard.
I would put like a hamster in there.
A hamster? Yeah. Oh, that is cruel. Oh man.
You'd go in there and you'd hear it scratching around. Well, it would be. Are they sealed? Are they like hermetically sealed?
Well, the individual with the safe deposit box, they have a key, and then we have a key, and then we unlock it.
I have a question. Has anybody ever brought in a dead body piece by piece into, and just like, because if you bring it all at once, there's probably some suspicions. But if you just bring like a finger or something in your pocket every day and make a deposit, would that work?
Yes. So it's not as
but
clean as feeding a body to the pigs, but eventually it would come to a head when the smell started becoming noticeable.
So the guidelines specifically say though that you can't open it until it becomes a health hazard. Like you could put food in there.
Well, potentially a health hazard. We need to get away from this topic because if people actually try this, then the Bank of Oklahoma is going to be very upset.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. What else? What do you think about the new $10 bills?
They look like Monopoly money. Yeah, I actually caught a fake $100 bill the other day.
Really?
I can go over the security features of a $100 bill if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be very informative.
Yeah, the big one, the main one, is that there's a little bitty, tiny strip of paper going in between the two faces of the bill. Just this little bitty strip, and it has in microscopic writing 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. There's also a watermark so that when you hold it up to the light, you can see an additional face of Benjamin Franklin on the right side of the bill. There's also the other things you look for are the consistency of the paper. You know, because a lot of people, they'll wear it. Basically, they use computer paper, and the actual money is printed on a special kind of paper. You also look for little bitty multicolored hairs that are all throughout the paper. It's a nature of the printing paper. And if you use computer paper, those hairs are not there. They're not hairs that fall off. They're in the paper.
Yeah.
You look for the detail of the face because all the little lines, they're so close together that they're hard to replicate on a computer. You also look for consecutive numbers on the serial numbers. If you have a bunch of hundreds and they all have the same serial number, then you probably have some fakes. Also, the color is important. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Do you have like the special light that you hold it under?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that detects the little strip that goes in between the two faces of the bill.
And whenever you get like a large bill, are you required to hold it under like one of these lights, or are you?
Supposedly.
Supposedly, okay. What's the largest bill? I'm sorry.
I think they have made $1 million bills, but I'm not sure. They used to make $1,000 and $500 bills, but they stopped making them. They're actually worth more money now. Now all they make is $100 bills.
It's probably smart, I guess.
Yeah, because if you're carrying one around in your pocket and you try to buy a cup of coffee and you think it's $1. Well, or you think you're giving them a 1, and then you realize after you get to your private jet that you're like, oh man, I give them 1,000 instead of a 1. And it's like you're already at your jet, so you don't want to go back to the coffee shop. And
man, screw it.
Yeah.
Our drawer's not open.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear. What did you say?
I was pretending like I was the manager of the Starbucks, or whatever, and I made the funny joke that
hilarious.
When you go back there and you say, "Hey, I gave $1,000 bill when I bought my coffee instead of a $1 bill," and then the manager would then respond to that who was beseeching
that comment
that the drawer was not over for the evening and therefore he is probably lying.
And thank you for returning to the theme.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate your thank you.
I appreciate your appreciation.
Okay.
So, is there any ground that we haven't covered that we need to cover? Tom, any questions?
That was weird.
That was the hum of Taos.
That's interesting.
Sorry.
We can break genre for just a moment, just for Brom. Brom knows about this story of the hum of Taos. Tell us about the hum of Taos.
I actually do not know. Supposedly, it's a hum that some people can hear, some people cannot hear when you're going through Taos, and some people say it's
Where's Taos?
It's in New Mexico.
Okay.
Some people say that it's a underground government research facility. Some people say it's aliens that have some kind of base there. Some people say it's some kind of new age universal energy traveling through the cosmos, winding up there, and there's some kind of. Other people say there's a nexus point where all the ley lines of the universe converge, and
there's a nexus in Little Rock. Did you know that?
No.
The nexus of the universe is in Little Rock.
Is that why the crime is so high?
Maybe, but
yeah, I'm from Little Rock.
Oh, really? I am too. If you're going down Cantrell and you take a right just before you get to Kavanaugh, you'll reach the street where there's two. You reach the end of the street and there's two one-way signs pointing in opposite directions.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
It is literally the nexus of the universe. And I refuse to drive through it. My friends, I've been in a car and my friends have tried to drive through it and I've jumped out of the car. You can ask them. And I swear, the last time that we drove through this nexus, there were all these dogs that appeared out of nowhere and started chasing us. And then my friend that was in the car hit his head. Or hit her head. It was a girl actually. She hit her head on the ceiling and got a concussion. And then another one of my friends. I shouldn't talk about that, but it was really bad. It was a series of unfortunate events, and it happens every time. Avoid the nexus.
Okay.
You can look, but don't drive through it.
Avoid the Lexus as well. It's not worth the money.
It's not a good car.
All right. Well, I think we can take a break for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got the best of the mom and dads. You're listening to Neoadio.
just read that.
Welcome back to neoadio.
This is an article about license agreements.
Right here on KXUA 88.3 FM. Tonight's show is a tribute to Bordom.
Yeah, tonight's show is about...
I'm not sure how much longer we can keep this up.
Yeah, it's difficult, you know. Everything becomes interesting if you think about it for a little too long. Oh, yeah, hey. Brom, the banker, is going to recite pi. How many digits do you know it to?
I knew 100. I actually learned the next 50. But I forgot that extra 50, so I'm back down to 100.
Let's see how far you got it. So
I wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, you could start just reeling off numbers and I wouldn't know.
Can I just say? Okay, this is podcast, and if anybody, go ahead and download the podcast from neoadio.tk, which is neoadio.tk, and correct him if he's wrong. And we will be witnesses. You'll just have to trust us that he's not sitting there in front, with a printout of it, or we got it on the computer. But here's Brom, and with the first 150 ish, 150 digits of pi. Go ahead.
3.1415926 5932338462643382795028841971693993710 582097494459230781640 06286208998
Wait a minute.
9. No, that's actually in pi.
No.
Yeah.
I think what he's doing is he's taking, multiple ones and then adding them together until they equal 100, and then just saying that number. So it's just basically the next series of numbers, which would eventually add to 100. Skipping the ones that wouldn't. The ones that wouldn't necessarily get to 100 are then added to the following group that adds to 100.
I think it's cheating. But we've got the licensing agreement for the stapler.
Oh, good.
So are you going to read that?
I'll read this.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God, you're kicking around that microphone.
Sorry.
And it's in my ear.
I apologize. I took it off the thing, and then you were all like,
take it off the thing.
Hey, let's put it back on the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to put it on the thing.
I took it off and handed it to you, then you put it back on again.
All right. We're taking it off again altogether.
Yeah, that's
What do you think of
fine.
that? All right. This can be found at http://www.worldofstock.com. It's the World of Stock license agreement. World of Stock Media Corporation is a company which is incorporate in British Columbia, Canada, and www.worldofstock.com is a registered domain belonging to World of Stock Media Corp. This is a binding legal agreement between the licensor, World of Stock Media Corp, hereinafter WOS, or World of Stock, and the licensee, you, or if you make this agreement on behalf of your employer or end client, the same rights, limitations, and restrictions apply to your employer or end client. Please read this license agreement carefully before using the product. By using the product, you agree to be bound by the terms of this license agreement. Image refers to one or more of the following items which are purchased from WOS. Digital still image downloaded from a website belonging to the licensor or its affiliates. Digital still image received on digital media such as CD, DVD, etc. This license agreement does not apply to images purchased as fine art prints or images delivered as comps for review purposes or for images which are not under the royalty-free license agreement. Royalty-free means that you only pay for this license once, without time limit, and without limits on where and how many times you use the image, as long as it is for the same end client or project. No additional license fees need to be paid. This royalty-free license does not grant you any rights to exclusive use of the image. If you require exclusive or semi-exclusive use, please contact us. Each image purchased as designated by a unique image ID requires a separate royalty-free license. You are not purchasing the rights to the image, only the right to use. Image owner photographer still retains all copyright to the image and as such is protected by copyright law. You are permitted to use the image for any of the following under this license: incorporated into other end items offered for sale, for example, greeting cards, books, CD, or DVD covers, posters, mugs, calendars, T-shirts, etc. As part of an advertising program or campaign for yourself, your company, or your end client. As part of a website theme, or in order to promote or sell products on a website belonging to yourself, your company, or end client. For editorial or journalistic purposes, providing it meets the criteria below. Personal use, such as for a print in your home or as desktop background, etc. You are not permitted to use the image for any of the following under this license: redistribution, resale, sublicensing, or relicensing of image on websites or other electronic media such as CD, DVD, memory device, etc., other than for display purposes. Image may not be used either unmodified, modified, or modified in any manner which may be deemed fraudulent, defamatory, racist, pornographic, obscene, or in any way contrary to the laws of the country or countries where the image is to be displayed. Any use which may cause potential hurt or damage to any individual, property, or brand name displayed in the image. Okay, image credits. That was one of the bullet points. That's kind of weird. Listen to this.
Okay.
It says, image may not be used, but then it just says, any usage which may cause potential hurt or damage to any individual, property, or brand name displayed in the image. And that's the complete statement. So it's just kind of weird.
So you can't hurt anything that's in the image?
I don't know. It's very strange.
So,
anyway.
okay, hold on. I think what they mean is, like, if you've got... I'm guessing they're talking about an image, like a picture.
Yeah.
So, you can't use this picture to, like, plan, no, but where you're going to go and, like, destroy the property.
If you look at the actual text, all it is first of all, it's a sentence fragment. And it says, any usage which may cause potential hurt or damage to any individual, property, or brand name displayed in the image. Period.
I think the which is misplaced. There shouldn't be the which there. And then it makes more sense.
Any usage may cause potential hurt or damage to any individual, property, or brand name displayed in the image. Yes, I agree.
No, they've got a which missing?
There's an extra which.
Oh, there's an extra which.
Here's the statement with the which.
Okay.
Any use which may cause potential hurt or damage to any individual, property, or brand name displayed in the image. Here's that same thing without the which. Any usage may cause potential hurt or damage to any individual, property, or brand name displayed in the image. So basically, any use may hurt something.
That is true.
Fair enough.
Would somebody else continue? Brom, do you want to continue with the image credits?
Sure. In applications or publications where copyright holder is normally credited, credit must be given to the image owner, parentheses, photographer. The photographer's name is shown with each image displayed. Representation of true copyright holder is protected by law in most countries. Model and property release. If an image contains identifiable people, property, brand names, etc., we will indicate whether the photographer has a release form on file for this image. If the image does not indicate a release is present, in bold, you should assume no release exists. You should also understand that there may be limitations on the usage of this image in that case. By purchasing this license, you acknowledge these limitations and assume all responsibility for any legal action as a result of the final image use. As World of Stock has no control over the end use of the image, we assume no liability, nor will we accept any claims of damages for improper, illegal, or disputed usage of any image you purchase. It is your responsibility to read and understand this agreement prior to using an image. For more information on releases, try this link, and it links to something.
What's the link?
Why don't you go ahead and link to it, and then you can read the address. Oh, there it is. Here, you want to read that?
http:// www.bajbaj.com/sensuousline/SLINE/MAG4-6 model_releases.shtml.
And back to the document. If you are not sure about the release status or whether the intended usage is appropriate, please contact us. Licensee shall not assign or transfer its rights or obligations under this agreement without the prior written consent of licensor, which consent may be arbitrarily withheld. For purposes of this license, the singular includes the plural and vice versa. This agreement shall be construed according to the laws of the province of British Columbia and the laws of Canada applicable therein. The parties agree that the forum for all disputes concerning this agreement must be located in Vancouver, British Columbia. Copyright 2003 through 2006, World of Stock Media Corp. All rights reserved.
All right.
Okay.
I think now we should observe a few minutes of silence
For
everyone who has died in their sleep.
okay. So, how many minutes here? Hang on, I can
5 minutes
Okay. Beginning right now.
Thanks for sticking with us through that.
5-minute moment of silence. In memory of all people who have ever died in their sleep.
So I think we've made it through the most boring show.
That's amazing. Like, we purposely set out to make this show boring. We started with boring office products. We tried the site license agreements. We did directions, instructions from someplace. Where was it again? Seattle to...
No, it was like Coral, Florida to
Saskatchewan?
Something, Washington. But... yeah, the most interesting thing about this experiment has been that through it all, it was interesting.
Boring things can indeed actually be interesting if you just think about them long enough.
Inevitably.
Right.
Inevitably.
You can't get away from the interesting parts
like,
of
there's
it.
no way to get away from it. Like, somehow this is going to be appealing.
Yeah, actually, I thought of one way we could have been boring. One thing that made it interesting is we kept switching topics. If we would have stuck with one thing,
oh, you're right,
then it would have been thoroughly boring. But then we would have become worthless.
If we just would have like I don't know, repeated the same number over and over and over for 2 hours, would that have been boring?
Well, you had those number stations that were played that one day, and I think
that wasn't boring at all.
Right. Well, the reason why, the thing that makes it interesting though, is that they're broadcast.
Oh.
Like, why are they broadcasting numbers? That's weird.
It's almost
and
like
strange.
The mystery of it
the
all.
The mystery, like, and the like, it's like basically the nature by numbers. Perhaps one might make the argument that it can be a little bit monotonous and boring, but why? Why? Like, what kind of a strange? Who would benefit from broadcasting numbers? Just a series of numbers.
So
and who's listening to that, and who's broadcasting it?
So our boring show was interesting because it was being broadcast. Somebody out there was saying, "Why is this being broadcast?"
Right.
And then they had to ask themselves, "Why am I listening it?"
Right.
And that therefore made the show interesting. God.
So by attempting to purposely be boring, you inevitably become interesting, because why are you striving for boredom of the audience in a world where radio is entertainment?
I think, I'm really glad we did this experiment. I learned a lot.
It's strange. Me too. Me too. I want to thank Brom, our banking expert, for coming in.
No problem.
I learned a lot about the banking industry tonight.
I did too. I learned that you could store nearly an entire person just by bringing them in a little bit at a time in a safety deposit box. Quite amazing.
I learned that you could get a safety deposit box for $50 a year. That blew me away. Like, I have thought my whole life, like, a safety deposit box would cost an ungodly amount because it's in this little room that's, like, fortified.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's savings accounts. No reason to have them. It's a psychological trick
So
that you play on
savings
yourself.
account?
And then you get penalized. It's like, it's just a good
savings
extra
account
way.
is a psychological trick.
Oh, there is one little addendum there. Savings accounts are interest-bearing, whereas
Your mattress or something
is not.
Yeah.
Your backyard is not. Your girlfriend is probably negative interest.
Negative interest.
No, wait a second.
Man,
Wait a second.
I hope my girlfriend's not.
But you said they used to issue these $1,000 bills, which are now worth a lot more than $1,000. So if I had buried all my $1,000 bills instead of putting it in the bank,
it'd probably be worth more.
The interest rate would not make it worth it. Also, those Eisenhower dollar coins, the silver dollars, the big ones, they're actually worth slightly over $1 now because, because they came out with the Sacagaweas and the Susan B. Anthony's. Anyway, back to the topic of boring.
But
there's just so much to talk about with banking.
And also, like, I never even got around to asking this because I wasn't sure. I mean, like, this doesn't seem to be necessarily a banking question, more of a monetary question in general. But, like, doesn't it cost more to make $1 so secure than $1? Like, doesn't each dollar cost more than $1 to make?
I don't think it's really just paper and ink. And if you look at the processing plant, I don't know, maybe, but you'd have to get into economics and inflation
that's
and
why I didn't
figure all
bother
that out.
asking.
So it's very. I mean, the federal government burns millions of dollars every year.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
burn
they burn old bills. They burn just money. If they got too much money floating around in circulation, they'll burn it. They have a ton of money stashed away in vaults that they're just, wondering. Oh, and one other thing that I learned is that the Federal Reserve Bank... The Federal Reserve Bank is not owned by the government. It's owned by a private corporation.
Yes, we've touched on this a lot.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
That's a topic we return to quite often on this show.
Yeah, scary stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think
Okay.
we've got 5 minutes left.
Do we?
Yeah. What are we gonna, do we have something for next week? I guess next week is just gonna be returned to the same old format.
Next week is going to be, we've got a lot of interesting things lined up. I think we should do Up Came Oil.
Yeah. Next week, we're gonna do Up Came Oil from the Yes Men.
Yeah, I think so. I
And,
guess it's on YouTube. It's a
We've
YouTube
got some
thing.
stuff from the Memory Hole.
Did we already talk about the movies that the CIA made?
I think that's the Memory Hole
Oh,
stuff.
right.
No, we did. We did that last week because,
Yeah.
or no, it was the week before last. Last week was a rerun.
Oh, right. That's right.
Last week, I actually wanted to mention this. Last week was a rerun, and we almost, we had a couple things we almost played instead of doing a rerun, and one of them was this. I'm going to see if I can get it to come up.
Fabio.
I was thinking about we could just put this on for 2 hours.
Yeah. I don't know which is worse, this or the moment of silence. I think they both have their own kind of zen.
I don't know. I don't really ever get tired of this. Yeah, but maybe some other time we'll do the Fabio show.
The Fabio show. We'll keep you posted.
He comes here often, actually.
Really?
He has a girlfriend around town.
Yeah, I remember some girl that when I worked at an accounting firm actually.
Hillary.
Was it Hillary?
Yeah, Hillary served him at a restaurant.
Okay, see, the girl that I knew actually went and got his autograph when he was kind of doing some kind of butter signing, I guess. What does he do? What does he have to sign?
What does that mean? Where
I know.
He takes a pat of butter and melts it on himself?
Well, I guess it's not butter. It's that's why he's so surprised. Anyway, never mind.
We had one other thing.
Yes.
There was the other thing we almost played
This is
last
the other
week.
thing we almost played.
Oh, wait. I still got Fabio going. See, I'm thinking...
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I'm thinking one time, for 2 hours, we're just going to play this over the air.
Right. And then suddenly there will only be children. Oh no, there will be nobody.
There'll be nobody.
The second part of the command I forgot. It's kind of a catchy tune.
Yeah, it kind of gets in your head and
Yeah.
stays.
Makes you want to go to Mountain Man Pond, doesn't it?
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to The Boring Show. If you would like a free blank sheet of paper, we will give it to you. You can either send us an email. That's your only option, actually, because I'm done with all that.
We won't be here.
We're leaving.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week at 11 o'clock.
Thanks again, Brom.
No problem.
If you want to hear our show, it's going to be very shortly posted on the internet at neoadio.tk. Yeah, and you can get last week's show, or actually week before last week's show there too. And if you, for any reason, want to send us an email, the email address is neoadio@gmail.com. Let's see here.
The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is
The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis.
The egg
Bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis. The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis. The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis.
name is a praxis.
Born must destroy a world. The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis. The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis.
The bird flies to where the egg is the world who would be born must
The bird
destroy
flies to
a
where the
world.
egg is the world who would be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is praxis. The bird flies to swear to the egg is the world who be born must destroy a world. The bird flies to God, that God's name is Abraxas.